Hello everyone, Simon here. We're doing a blind playthrough of Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishments. So the last Sherlock Holmes game we played was The Testament of Sherlock Holmes. And that was a pretty good game. I mean, the story was a little bit strange and Sherlock Holmes is a little bit inappropriate and antisocial. But aside from all that, it was a pretty good game. So let us get straight into this. Blind playthrough, I haven't played this at all. Except for the first, minute, getting the graphics settings. So we got a intro. Let's just step through this. Crimes and Punishments Sherlock Holmes, starring Sherlock Holmes, surprise! And also Dr. Watson. It's a little strange because usually what they should do is tell you who the actors are, not just who the characters are, right? Like if it's a film, they tell you who the actors are. But that intro tells you who the characters are, not the actors, which is weird. But anyway. The Fate of Black Peter is the first part of the game. Also, loading screens are a bit long in this game. If you're interested, these are the minimum graphics settings. The minimum graphics settings for the game. Although they only save like 5 frames per second at best. The best settings don't look very different, like it looks pretty much the same. I don't think we can get shot here. I've sat through this like 5 times.
Holmes, will you stop that?
Getting the settings right.
You are utterly mad.
So yeah, inappropriate and antisocial is Sherlock Holmes. Shooting up his own...
Stop, Holmes!
Oh, it's not his house, it's Watson's house.
Watson?
Yes, of course it is. And you almost killed me.
Nonsense. I was aiming for the vases.
Blindfolded?
Watson, quiet please. I'm trying to concentrate.
So this isn't even Holmes's apartment, it's Watson's apartment, so he's just shooting up someone else's apartment.
Ah, Lestrade. What is it this time?
He can see me. Well, here it is, and it's a good one, Mr. Holmes. A gentleman by the name of Peter Carey, also known as Black Peter, has been murdered.
A sailor, most probably.
What happened here?
Oh, Mr. Holmes, how could you?
It's the only exercise I've had all week. A grateful client from Limoges sent me a vase collection this morning. I couldn't think of a better use for it.
You're out of your mind.
I missed 4 out of 10.
Given you were blindfolded, that was very good. Can I have a try?
Am I the only sane one here?
I suppose that Watson is right, Inspector. A little brain work would be preferable now. Do please tell us more about Black Peter.
Peter Carey, born in 1845 and 50 years old. An ambitious sort, he achieved much success in seal and whale hunting around Scandinavia. Retired in 1884 with a small fortune. He invested his money in a property called Woodman's Lee, near Forest Row in Sussex. It was where he lived for 6 years, and where he was found dead yesterday.
Has the investigation already begun?
Yes and no. In fact, this crime is so mysterious that I would prefer you to join me down there.
Give me half an hour to prepare, Inspector.
Take your time and join me there. I have to go through the yard first. The Merry Men struck again.
What have they done this time?
They robbed a powder reserve. I'll meet you at Woodman's Lee, Mr. Holmes.
I should help Mrs. Hudson here. I also have several appointments that I must keep this afternoon.
I shall go alone, then.
The Merry Men robbed the powder reserve? Tab to open casebook and check your current progress in the investigation task. Alright, tab is this stuff. Alright, let me just press that. They robbed the powder reserve? That's like terrorism waiting to happen, isn't it? It is a gunpowder reserve, right? That's what they're talking about. Let's press tab. Oh, look, there's a book with tabs. Tasks: investigate the murder of Peter Carey, inspect the crime scene at Woodman's Lee. Select a suit to wear using your personal wardrobe and join Lestrade at Woodman's Lee. Inspector Lestrade pays a visit to Baker Street, where he relates to Holmes the grotesque affair that involved the former captain known as Black Peter. Alright. Baker Street, Woodman's Lee. So let's not go in our pajamas, although we can. What are the red lines? What? There are red lines marked on the map. I'm not sure what they mean. Could be some sort of patrol route or something. I don't know what the red lines mean. Evidence. Profile of the victim. Peter Carey, also known as Black Peter, born 1840, but he's a white man, isn't he? He's not actually a black guy. Born 1845 and so 50 years old, he achieved great success in whale hunting in Scandinavia. Retired in 1884, eventually moving to Woodman's Lee. Okay. Documents, nothing. Dialogues, alright. Souvenirs, echoes, character portraits. Not found. Will be met in a future case, current case. Alright. There's our book. Alright. So we're using our mouse. We are slowly walking around. The mouse is a little too fast. Hold on. Main menu. No. Options. Gameplay. Mouse sensitivity is too fast. Given that it's not an action game, like even this is kind of fast. So usually how I set my mouse is I move it and I want to turn 180, but that's 360, so that's like still twice as fast as how I would like it. So like with one smooth motion I want to turn 180, but that was more like turning 360. Alright, let's do that, let's resume. So now if I do that, well okay, this is good, alright. What can we do with this? Examine telescope? Oh really? Why would you? And she's staring straight at us as well. She's staring, it's like, does she know? Awkward. Let's talk to Watson. Hi, Watson.
You go along to Peter Carey's house. Mrs. Hudson and I will take care of the mess you've made here.
Yeah, Sherlock Holmes lives in Watson's house and shoots up the place. You might. I think Sherlock Holmes might actually be like mentally challenged in some areas.
My analysis table. It is useful for my work.
Because no sane person does something like that, right? Like live in someone else's house and shoots up their place.
My archive. I can always consult with it if needed.
Sure. Door to Holmes's room. There's a lot of newspapers. Why do you keep your newspapers?
My archive. I can always consult with it if needed.
You archive newspapers?
This is where I keep my post. This is where I keep my post. My archive. I can always consult with it if needed.
Alright, so I'm guessing we shouldn't go outside in our pajamas.
A map of London and the surrounding area. It could be useful.
Don't I have a map? Let's talk to Hudson.
Oh, what a mess! What a terrible mess!
You're not gonna tell Holmes that he's banned from this place? You can put a restraining order on him, you know. I think if you talk to a judge, the judge will decide that randomly shooting up furniture is sufficient cause to put a restraining order on a person. What does that say? I can't quite see it. A study of cigar and cigarettes. Okay, well. Interesting paintings. Shaving things. Alright. So Watson does groom his mustache. Let's see what Holmes does in his room. Holmes has clothes. He drinks tea in his room. Crimes and Punishment is the book he's reading. Fireplace. It is a bit of a fire risk. Like, look how close the chair is to the fireplace. I'm not sure if that's good for the chair either. Make up table. I can go on with a disguise. Oh, I can use it? Hair and hat, glasses, facial hair. Oh, I can actually do this. Hair and hat. Oh wait, that's locked? Wait, all of this is... Why is that locked? So what isn't locked? This top hat isn't locked. Alright, I guess I should put my top hat on. Glasses? Locked. So I don't have disguises. Ah, that's nice. That's cool. So we don't have glasses. Facial hair is locked. Alright, so let me just put on my hat. And then wardrobe, morning gown is locked. Sailor outfit is locked. Unbuttoned shirt. Huh. Casual suit. Okay, that's allowed. Black suit is allowed, even though they look the same, kind of. Brown suit is allowed. Green suit is... I mean, they all look the same, more or less. Grey suit. Light suit. Bandit outfit. Farmer outfit. Morning gown. Alright, I think I like the... not that, not those. The green one? Not the green one. The grey one? There we go, we look like a bit of a dandy. Alright, let's go. Bye.
Oh, what a mess! What a terrible mess!
Woodman's Lee. Is this like a loading screen? I suppose it is. We can open case. Is that optional or are we supposed to open case? I think that's optional. Because it says loading down at the bottom right corner there. Alright, that's a loading screen. What's with the spooky...
Mr. Holmes, I'm over here. Come on.
What's with the spooky sounds? Join the Strata Women's League completed. Alright, what's going on here? Hi guys. Let me just examine the rocks. That's not too bad. Let me examine the police.
Mr. Holmes?
That's my name. Oh, I can leave. Never mind, we're not gonna leave. The cart has veered into the vegetable garden. This is odd. That is strange, to say the least. Garden.
It seems that the garden was well maintained.
Was well maintained. Until the cart veered into it. Can I walk into it? No. Invisible walls. You can't walk into the garden. I suppose I should talk to the inspector first. Dragonflies? No clues here apparently, but there's like a lot of dragonfly. There's a lot of dragonflies in this tree. Are those actually... But dragonflies don't fly like that. They're not dragonflies, are they? Are they supposed to be moths? Because real no, they are dragonflies. Look at that, they're hovering there. I don't know why they fly like that though. There's a bit of a house. Or a shed, whatever that is. There's a planter thing. I'm aware that the frame rates are kind of atrocious. But I guess that's just gonna be the whole game because my computer is not that powerful.
Inspector Lestrade, when will you remove my husband's body? It's sacrilegious to leave him here like this.
As soon as we can, Mrs. Carey, I assure you. Allow me to introduce you to Mr. Sherlock Holmes. He's a detective. No doubt you've heard of him. I'll wait for you in front of the cabin, Mr. Holmes.
My condolences, Mrs.
Okay.
Carey.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Anything unusual that night? When was the body found? Is there a gardener? What is that? What does that do? When was the body found?
Do you remember at what time you found your husband's body?
In the morning, at around 7 o'clock. I noticed the cabin door was open, but I didn't go in to take a look, for I knew my husband would not have liked it. At around 10 o'clock I dared to glance in through the door and... oh dear.
Anything unusual?
Madam, can you tell me if you saw or heard anything unusual upon the night of the murder?
At 2 o'clock in the morning I heard a terrible scream, but I thought nothing of it then. He would scream all the time when he was drunk.
Drunk. Evening before the murder.
Can you please tell me what occurred on the evening of the murder?
Well, Peter got drunk in the evening. He was in such a terrible temper. Usually whenever that happened, he'd stay all night drinking in his cabin before passing out.
Right.
Was your husband accustomed to receiving visitors?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I mean, he didn't really have many friends. We lived quite an isolated life here, after his retirement.
No friends. He drinks by himself.
The garden is very large and well maintained. Do you employ someone to look after it?
It is true, there is a lot of work, but my husband took care of it himself.
He gardens? What the? Oh, I have to... Backwards, forwards, exit. What do you mean? Backwards, forwards, exit. What am I looking for? Birdhouse. Gardening gloves. Crested tit. That's a bird, by the way. No, it's not her crested tit. It's the bird on the book. Cross. Catholic rosary. Character portrait complete. How does that help? How does that help us? Everything will become easier. I can back? Everything will become easier.
You have indeed suffered a great loss, Mrs. Carey. Nevertheless, I believe it will be less of a burden for you soon.
Yes, life with Peter was never easy, but he was still my husband.
He was different, wasn't he, when you first met him upon your return from Plymouth?
Yes, Mr. Holmes. Oh my goodness, but how do you know about that?
Q? Wait, there's QuickTime events? Well-kept garden. How do you know about Plymouth? Well, wait, what? Well-kept garden, pilgrimage, profile of the victim?
You undertook a pilgrimage to the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela when you were young. That much is evident from the rosary in your hand. The shortest route for the pilgrim from England to Spain is from Plymouth. I believe that you met Peter Carey as a young sailor there, and you married him soon afterwards.
That is indeed what happened, Mr. Holmes. How extraordinary.
I don't know. It sounds like he's just jumping to conclusions.
Thank you, madam.
I feel like he just jumped to conclusions there, but okay. What? What? No, come on. Come on, that's not reasonable. That's not